viewers, and welcome back to the first Thursday Cooking with Kevin of 2022. I hope everybody had a good holidays. As you can see, all of our Christmas decorations are gone, except for the lights up above. I kind of like it. I don't know if I'm going to keep it that though, because I'm not sure how much it'll cost to run them all the time. Anyways, this week we are going to do a keto meatball casserole. You're going to need a large 9x13 sprayed, so I've already pre-sprayed sprayed that casserole dish. We're going to need 1 pound of ground turkey, 1 pound of Italian sausage, 1 cup shredded mozzarella, 1/3 cup grated or shredded Parmesan, 1 shredded zucchini, about 1 cup, 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of dried minced onion, 2 teaspoons of dried minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of dried basil, and a teaspoon of salt. I didn't get my salt or egg out. The other thing is I'm using actual just minced garlic. I didn't have any dried garlic. Let me right back and get my salt. And my egg. Now, today we are using ground chicken. I couldn't get ground turkey. So the first thing we're going to do, we are going to mix all the ingredients for the meatballs. And I always like to wear my gloves because I hate touching the meats. And the other thing here, for some reason, in Canada, it's hard to buy just ground Italian sausage, not already pre-done as a sausage. Okay. The first we're going to do is open up our chicken. Now, because this chicken is really moist and wet, I am going to add just some breadcrumbs to the chicken.
Which makes it non-keto then.
Well, I know, but you kind of have to with the chicken, otherwise it's too moist.
Well, I didn't ask you to make it because it was keto. I asked you to make it because it looked good.
Yeah, I know.
So, that's it.
Yeah. Oh, we still got a little bit of frozen. Now the breadcrumbs are going to give it some flavor too. Get the breadcrumbs mixed in, and I think too, once I get the sausage in here as well, it'll help with the moistness. All right. The next thing I have to do is decase the sausages. Now this is a sweet Italian sausage, so it'll have a little bit of spice to it. Yes, if I was able to get ground turkey or something like that, I would use the breadcrumbs. Funny how I've done this with other Italian sausage, and some of them just come out of the casing really easy, and some not so much. This one's really binding to the casing. Okay. All right, so we need our 1 cup of shredded mozzarella, which I've already pre-shredded. Okay, and then 1/3 cup shredded Parmesan. And then the 1 cup of shredded zucchini. Two tablespoons of minced dried onion. Sorry, yeah, teaspoon. Garlic, I don't have. The dry stuff, so I'm just using the wet, that's fine. You kind of adjust however you can. Dried basil, and I'm pretty sure very close to 2 teaspoons of what I have left. Yeah, of course I'm going to throw it everywhere as well. tablespoon of salt. And 1 egg. Alrighty. Now we're just going to mix everything in. It says it makes roughly 24 balls. I just want to make sure it's mixed really good. Okay, I'm going to use more breadcrumbs. I'm sorry, I know it's supposed to be keto, but I just can't do too much with the with them being too wet. Then they just like stick really bad. And as I said, if I was able to get the turkey, or even if I used hamburger, I probably wouldn't have to obviously use the. But that's all right. Okay. And I actually have something for this. I got a little scoop. They don't have to be perfect. Just a little bit. Now I'm going to make enough to go in the pan. I think this is going to make a lot more than what they advertise. And if it does, what I'll do is I'll probably freeze the rest of this for something later. Because Callie and I are not going to eat all these meatballs. We'll give some probably to our next door neighbor. Although I think when they said the amount of meatballs, I'm expecting that they're probably thinking really big ones, which is fine. So I made 16 meatballs. And then what I'm gonna do is,
We can make the other into little meatloaves.
yeah, well what I'm gonna do with the rest of this is I'm gonna freeze it. Like we don't have to make it up now. I can just pack it up, freeze it, and when we want it, we can bring it out and cook it. Okay, there we go. So these we're gonna put in the oven for 30 minutes. And right now, I have baked potatoes cooking, and I'm gonna make double stuffed broccoli and cheese potatoes. So when
Double
they're,
baked, not double stuffed.
did I say double stuffed?
Yep.
Well, whatever. Double stuffed, double baked. Well, they will be double stuffed. It'll have a little bit of mash and some cheese. That's kind of double stuffed. Yeah, so double baked baked potatoes. So stay tuned. When the potatoes are ready to put together to make, I'll bring you back. Okay, baked potatoes are all done. So we are gonna cut them in half. And yes, they are hot. And they are a little crispy because that's, we like them like that. We're just going to take our spoon. You want to be very, very careful because you don't want to damage the skin. You just want to remove the inside of the potato. And I have some broccoli in the microwave right now that I'm steaming. And we're going to add to the potatoes. As you can see, we're just not taking a whole complete potato out. Now we're just going to set those aside. Margarine. And just a splash of milk. Not too much. And our broccoli. We used to do this when the kids were younger. It's the only way they'd eat vegetables sometimes. Okay. And we are just going to take the mixer and mix it all up. And here's what you end up with. The inside of those potatoes. Now you always end up with more insides once you mash them up. And that's okay. Alright, now we're just going to put them inside our lined pan with parchment. Now I always push the middles down just a little bit. And I do that because we're going to add some cheese. And this is just a mix blend cheese of, it's a Tex-Mex, pizza mozzarella, cheddar, Monterey Jack, and jalapeno cheese. It's going to be the same one that we're going to use on the meatballs when they are done. We're going to put those in the oven when we bring the meatballs out, drain them, and we're going to add the marinara or the spaghetti sauce to them and top them with cheese, and then we're going to put it all back in the oven to bake it. The other thing I want to mention is, and Kelly reminded me something I totally forgot, I can't refreeze the rest of that meat because I actually unthawed it. I bought it at the store. It was already frozen. So unfortunately, we're gonna have to cook it up tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna do with it, but I'll figure something else. The other thing I wanted to mention, because I know it's been mentioned before when I had the cooking show back, because all the stuff that I'm doing right now is all going back in the oven, getting cooked at 400 degrees and stuff. I'm a little bit more relaxed with just rinsing off the gloves that I was using, using this towel. Now this towel obviously is going to go down in the wash right away. But the other thing is I'm not dealing with any fresh vegetables or anything else like that, so I won't cross-contaminate. That's one big thing that I try, that if we're doing fresh vegetables and stuff like that, those are things I try and prepare ahead of time before we cook, just in case they're, I get kind of meat on here and I don't quite wipe up very good. So I always like to do that stuff first. So I just want to let everybody know, don't worry. I know I was rinsing off my gloves. I know it still had the chicken on it. You got to keep in mind, all this stuff is going back into the oven, and it's going to get cooked. I would never touch any kind of like raw vegetables or anything that I wouldn't be cooking with that. So anyway, stay tuned and we'll bring you back when we're ready to dress up those meatballs with the sauce and the cheese. Okay, the meatballs are ready for the marinara sauce, spaghetti sauce, whatever you want to use. The other thing the instruction says, to drain the meatballs. I don't need to drain these with using the chicken and the Italian sausage. So we are just gonna put in our spaghetti sauce. We're just gonna make sure we're covering all of our meatballs. And then we're just going to cover them up with our cheese. And we're going to throw them back in the oven along with our potatoes. So when these are ready and we're ready for the taste test, we will bring you back. And we're back at the table. Oh, they smell so delicious. I know they're not so keto because I added the breadcrumbs, but I had to. Unfortunately,
it wasn't the keto that I wanted you to make them anyway. They just looked. The recipe looked good. Yum.
Yes, they are. Well, what was it? What do they call it? Keto.
I don't know, meatballs.
Keto, yeah, keto meatballs. We use chicken, called for turkey. You can use hamburger. You use whatever you want.
And they're also gluten free. Well, if you don't use the breadcrumbs.
They weren't until I used the breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I suggest you stick with the ground turkey because ground chicken is always more sticky, gooey, where ground turkey is not. So yeah, stick with the ground turkey or the hamburger, and then you'll have no issues. But that's it. That's the keto meatballs for this week. Thanks for joining us once again. And as I always say, I don't know what I'm going to make next week, but I'm sure Kelly will let me know. See you next week.